Thank you.
I had like not only crazy traffic, there was an accident, and I'm coming. There's a cop coming behind me and blocked me like that. Yonkers. And I left. The GPS said I should be here on time.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We'll invite you to come on in, to take a seat.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We begin with words of Shalom Aleichem, welcoming in the peace of this Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu, Mile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu, Mile Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Extend to all of you a very warm welcome. Those of you who are sitting here with us in our chapel, those of you who are zooming in, all of you, of course, equally are welcome to bring in the Shabbat spirit of renewal, of rest, of everything we need to do to let go of the week out there and just sort of unwind in here. Not always easy to do, but we're going to give you an hour to do it and hopefully good material to do it with. Speaking about good material, this weekend we are celebrating the bat mitzvah of Rachel Christie. Very excited. Rachel, you don't have to do anything yet, but your mom and dad do. So we're going to call on Andrea and Todd Christie to join us to kindle the Sabbath lights.
As we light these Sabbath candles, we link ourselves with the generations of our people who have kindled these holy flames. Time passes quickly, and we take this moment to pause and express our gratitude. We stand here as a family with humility and with love for this occasion, for one another, and for being part of this sacred community.
I'm okay with it. I don't need the glasses. Thank you. As we participate in this age-old ritual, we embrace this moment as we move forward in the cycle of our lives. Yesterday, we held our daughter in our arms, and tomorrow she will be called to the Torah as Bat Mitzvah. These Shabbat candles remind us not only of the joy of this occasion, but they help us to see the light within one another and the strengths that each of us possesses. Grateful for all the precious gifts in our lives, we kindle the Sabbath candles. Yeah, sure.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kadeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue now welcoming in Shabbat with words of Lecha Dodi, a melody that was first inspired in the Kol HaNeshama synagogue in Jerusalem. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Shamor v'zachor dibur echad, hishmianu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'litzira. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'elcha, ki hi mekor ha'beracha. Merosh mikedem esucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech kumi uri. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabelai. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha ub'tzola. Toch emunei
continuing with our liturgy, we turn to the words of Baruch Hu. You can follow along on the screen or on page 146 in your prayer books, which are under your seats. And we'll invite everyone to please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakohavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
We'll read responsively. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world.
In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth.
In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam va'ed.
Please be seated.
If you're following along in your prayer book, we're on page 150. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
when we grant for everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Continue with the words of Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot oseh.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Bring us shelter in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety, and in your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai, ha'porei sukat shalom, ha'aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Page 155, we find the blessings of the Amidah. I invite you to please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. At this point in our service, we move from the expansiveness of our communal prayers to the personal prayers that we might offer for those in our lives who are ill. On this Shabbat, we send our Mishaberach, our prayer for healing, to Cindy Baker, Ada Barbara Corvelli, Janice Cummins, Susie Fisher, Alfred Marcus, Melissa Miller, Wayne Pole, and Gerard Roos. And to those names from our own Bnai Jeshurun community, we of course open up to the names of anyone else you are praying for, be it the healing of body, the healing of spirit, the healing of mind, the healing, of course, of our entire world. If you'd like to share a name with us, please feel free to raise your hand, share that name and your relationship with that person. Prayers for healing, please. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Patty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Barbara. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei Cholim. We praise you, Adonai, our God. We call you the healer of those who are sick. And as one community, we join in our prayer for healing together. And from the healing of the individual to the healing of our world, you don't have to think back too many days, which newspaper headlines, which websites, which apps, to think of a place in our country and our world that is feeling so dark tonight, that could use some of our light, that could use some of the gift of peace. That though it seems so remote sometimes, we never ever stop praying for, even when it's really hard to. So we sing with all of our strength, with everything we have, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav
Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim And of course, it has been a painful week with moments of hope and moments of pain and moments of confusion for our homeland. And we know, and you'll hear lots more from Rabbi Matt about the ways in which we might understand that. But just as we never stop praying for peace here, we pray for peace in our homeland using words of our psalmist. Pray for the well-being, O Jerusalem. Let all those who love you be at peace. For you are a light that shines upon the world. My heart, all of our hearts, the heart of the world, turns to you to pray for peace.
Pray for well-being, O Jerusalem. Let all those who love you be at peace. For you are a light that shines upon the world. My heart turns to you to pray for peace. Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim yishleyu, Ohavayim. Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim
It is written in the Talmud that one should ask questions and think about the laws of Passover for 30 days before the holiday. It's one of the reasons why this Shabbat is called Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat before Passover. It is tradition that the congregation would have to sit for a very long time as the rabbi would cover every topic related to the holiday of Passover, chametz and matzah, Pesach, items related to the Exodus from Egypt. And you were not allowed to leave until you had learned or relearned all of the rules. Hence it is called the Great or the Long Shabbat. So what would the rabbi have been talking about? What might people, those questions they might have been asking? There are three types of questions: the logistical, the pedagogical, and the communal. The logistical, I bet, is on your mind. Who's hosting? Who did we invite? What's on the menu? And have we started cooking yet? The pedagogical, a little bit deeper. It's because the holiday is so focused on the home, every single Seder leader becomes sort of a mini spiritual leader for their family. So that person might say, what Haggadah are we using? Who's leading the 4 questions? How will we make this Seder welcoming to those who may not have been to a Seder before? How might we connect it to this moment in our history? And the communal, because of course, even though the emphasis is on the home and the individual, we risk missing the entire essence of our holiday if we only focus on us. By asking questions of how we create these rituals of Passover, we're actually answering the question of that wicked child who asked, "What is this ritual to you?" The answer is, look at all that we do for the sake of this holiday. It is because it means everything to us. So whether if the list in your mind is a shopping list or a travel list or all of the other things that might be swirling through, this is indeed Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat that leads us into our holiday of freedom, our holiday of abundance, of spring, of redemption. So with that light streaming in the back of the chapel, we take a few moments for our own questions, maybe some answers, a little bit of silence. We pray in silence.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. With Passover, if it hasn't been made abundantly clear to you, is coming within a couple of days. One of the questions that I always had as a child and finally got answered for myself as a rabbinic student, which wasn't until my mid to late 20s. And I'm guessing a lot of you don't know the answer to this, but would like to know the answer to this. Why did Sephardic Jews, why are they able to eat rice and beans and corn chips and things of that sort, but Ashkenazic Jews are not able to eat any of those things? And, well, does anyone know? Anyone want to guess? It's amazing. So you've been practicing this way for all your life and follow it and even call me and us to ask if you could do those things. Okay, so let me tell you what else happens. And by the way, same Talmud, same Torah, same Mishnah. There's not one separate document. There may be separate commentaries, but the law is the law. The Torah is the Torah. You go to a Ashkenazic beach in Tel Aviv on Shabbat, and there is not one person on the beach. Orthodox, I'm talking, right? You go to a Sephardic beach in Tel Aviv, Orthodox beach, and you cannot get a spot on the beach. How come? Well, there's no rule against swimming on Shabbat. And there's no rule about drying yourself off on Shabbat. What is the rule against? Anyone want to take a shot? Go ahead.
Maybe it's because Shabbat is the day that God rested. Maybe it has something to do with that part.
It does. You're absolutely right. But the question is, go ahead. Thank you. So, okay, we're scared, the Ashkenazim, that we might wring out the towel. The Sephardic Jews are like, I promise you, I'm not going to wring out the towel. I just want to be cool on Shabbat. So, no one knows the answer, right? I didn't either, so I wouldn't expect you to. There is, well, let me just say this sarcastically, Ashkenazic neurosis. What does that mean? There's no prohibition against rice and beans and corn products, but the Ashkenazim was so nervous that somehow, God forbid, that in the marketplace, where rice was here and yeast was here, that one might jump 20 feet from one pile into the other, and God forbid it got there, it might become not kosher for Passover. Now, this is before Uncle Ben's rice. Like, meaning we know rice is now sealed. There's no way that bread products could go from one to the other. It's called putting a fence around the Torah. You want to take so many precautions that you don't get close to breaking the law, that you put fence after fence after fence. And by the way, the answer, I'm going to put this on the back burner for a second, is that there is actually no reason except for that. No Jewish law reason. So just so you know, if it gives you dispensation or not, I started eating rice and beans and corn products probably 25 years ago. About maybe even 20 when I learned to rabbinic school, because I decided that I have enough neurosis in my life. I'm going to leave that one on the own. Liz, you think that's funny, so you must have neurosis also. Okay. We will not get on the couch tonight and talk about that. I had, as I told the board the other night, I had a conversion student who came to me in my second or third year as a rabbi a long time ago on the Upper West Side. I used to do 10 or 12 conversions a year in Manhattan. And a man must have been in his late 70s, early 80s. And he came to me, and inevitably and lovingly, I asked him, why are you interested in converting to Judaism? Looked to his left, looked to his right, made sure that no one was listening. We were in a closed office, by the way. And he said, I want to know the secret. And I said, excuse me? He said, the secret. You have a secret that I believe I get when I come out of the mikveh. You're going to tell me the secret of the Jewish people. And I said, the secret about what? He says, you people have lasted a really long time. And I'd like to know why. I'm 78 or 80, whatever he was, and I want to know why. He wanted the longevity. So I thought to myself, I have no idea what he's talking about, and I wonder if I missed that day in rabbinic school. Like maybe I just missed it. But the question kept on bothering me because he really was emphatic about it. And soon after, it was actually a few years after, on the first trip that I led to Israel from here, I finally remembered. A few of you, Bob, you and Barbara, Mark and Rini, a few of you were on that trip. We went up to Leo Beck. And I don't know if you remember because I know all the trip was so, intense. My friend Ofek Meir, who's now the headmaster there, said, I learned today in the Talmud, and I want to share it with you, what the secret to Jewish life is. I'm like, oh my God, I'm finally going to find out all these years later. And he said, this is not going to be nearly as exciting as you think it is, but it's compelling. This part of the Talmud said that there are two secrets to the Jewish people lasting as long as they have, and not just lasting, but have thrived as long as they have. One is that we are obsessed with questioning, asking questions, and the other is that we are obsessed with memory. I don't think anyone in this room who knows even a tiny bit about Judaism would deny that. That there are so many examples of us being obsessed with questions and obsessed with memory. Let's start with questions. We know that we answer questions often with what? See that? Almost in unison. You know that you put 30 Jews in a room and you're going to get how many opinions? 30, come on. 50 or 60 or 70, we're going to question. The Talmud does not begin with a statement, but it begins with a question. Yeah, and very appropriately so. On Wednesday night, we're going to sit down, and what does the Seder begin with? 4 questions. Now, there we're wrong. So, because we do have a little bit of time before the 4 questions, and the Talmud doesn't let it go. The Talmud says, it's one of the few places where certain editions of the Talmud actually have drawings of such, that you call the kids in for the Seder, and everything on the table is supposed to be turned upside down. The plates, the glasses, the gefilte fish tray. Yeah, everything. So the kids come in, and what is the reaction of the kids going to be? Right, exactly right. But that's a nice, you say why. I probably say, Mom, are you out of your mind? Somehow, though, you're going to ask a question which is going to get the kid pedagogically, educationally into the idea that they're going to ask questions. And just when they finish boldly, obnoxiously asking those questions, it's going to be time to do this. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh. And I know with chills running down our backs, we could all continue to sing those songs, but we're not ready for those 4 questions until we are in the mode of questioning. Why? Questions deepen ourselves. They deepen the mind, but perhaps more importantly, they deepen our spirit. Questions make us understand that we're supposed to be curious people. We're supposed to walk around the world in wonder and wondering about why the world works the way that it does. We're supposed to, 3, and you know this is my soapbox these days, be open to different points of view. You ask questions because you don't have a monopoly on the truth. Someone else, by asking questions, may in fact teach us something. And last, and there are probably 20 of these, it's God, God's self. You ask a question about God, if I give you an answer, it's only going to create another question. Then you go to that question, I'm going to give you an answer, it's going to cause 3 more questions. The idea is, until you leave this earth, you're probably never going to stop questioning what God is, who God is, how God acts in this world. After all, if God is eternal, if God is infinite, then our questions actually should last a lifetime. You should never take a class with someone and walk out and say, I got God figured out. Because it don't work that way. That's questions. Questions stimulate us. Questions perpetuate us. And questions indeed sustain us. Memory. Why memory? Why memory? Because when let me say it not as a question, but we are specific as anyone else I know when it comes to our memory. The Talmud doesn't just give you a quote, it gives you every single person who taught that person, paragraphs of Rabbi so-and-so taught Rabbi so-and-so taught Rabbi so-and-so, and by the way, it didn't stop there. How many times do we get up here, do I say, Rabbi Green taught this, and Rabbi Pilchik taught that, and Rabbi Foster taught that? Cantor Stahl and Cantor Summers, we go on and on and on, telling details, telling times, telling tastes, telling smells, telling all of it. Because memories actually teach us the very fabric of who we are as human beings. I told the board the other night about my great-grandfather Yankel, whose stories I never wanted to listen to because I got tired of them as a boy and cherished them, of course, as an adult. About being in Zitkovich in Ukraine as a 14-year-old young man. Parents had no money at all, so they made a big pot of soup every night with a small piece of meat that they could afford. They would give it Yankel to taste it first, and then to the second to taste it, and then to the third, and by the time they got to the last child, my Uncle Arthur, he was the one who got to eat the meat sucked by every sibling before he had it, because he needed most of the nourishment. I can go on and on and on about what values I've learned, what values I see manifest in my own life because of what happened at that table in the Ukraine. Stories about our lives, memories, the details, the vivid imagery tells us everything. Your bat mitzvah, Rachel, is tomorrow, and made me think about your brothers, their b'nai mitzvah a couple of years back. Many times, your mom probably was driven crazy because they came many more times to work with me than they needed to because we hung out a lot. And one of the things I remember you guys telling me was about your grandmother's recipes and your aunt's recipes and your cousin's recipes that your dad still cooks to this day. I don't want to go any further because I know, Todd, you'll start to cry. But the truth is those recipes aren't just delicious because they taste good, but they remind you of your mom. They remind you of your aunt. They remind you of your cousins. Recipes themselves wake us up. The imagery of memory does everything to make us live longer, and if not longer, qualitatively longer. We don't just survive by them, but we thrive by them. Memory and questions define the Jewish people. They help us thrive. They help us live deeply and meaningfully and with purpose. And until last Sunday, I want to show you what I thought my memory was going to be of Jake in Israel. And watch it. This is Hebrew commentary, so you pay attention. You'll understand like 4 words, but pay attention.
מה שאומרים, הפיצ'ינג נותן והפיצ'ינג לוקח, כדור מעולה של ג'ייק ורץ, הוציא אותו מהברוך והכניס אותו לברוך חדש, סטרייק נוסף, ספירה היא 2 בולס ו2 סטרייקס. החובט כאמור היה, הוא עקיבא אפשטיין עם סינגל RBI 1 מ-2. הוא גם זה שניסה להגיע באינינג הקודם הביתה, הוא פוגע בפיצ'ר, הפיצ'ר מספיק לזרוק את הכדור, מתאושש מהמכה, מספיק לזרוק את הכדור לבסיס הראשון.
Hang on, one more. That wasn't it, Leah. But thank you. Thanks for the punchline there. Okay, are you finished with baseball? Okay, thanks. So, putting the cart before the horse there. This is what my memories were being made up of. Jake is playing on the Israeli baseball team, and I can't help because I'm not trying to boast. I'm just really proud. He made the national team is going to represent Israel and Germany next month, pitching for Israel. So yeah, we're going to go for 3 days. No, don't clap. We're going to go for 3 days because just him in the Israeli uniform will give me enough tears for the next 4 or 5 years. But that was my narrative. And not that I don't know what's going on in Israel. And about 2 hours later, I get a WhatsApp call, and the kid doesn't call me a lot. So I said, "What's going on, Jake? What's the matter?" And now, Leah, this is what I saw when I picked up the phone. So the innocence and the spring abounds of baseball and kids making teams and wearing uniforms felt like what life was all about. And then hours later, I received that second video, and it brought up a lot of memory and a lot of questions for me. First of all, you know, if I was his age, I'd be there also. And he didn't have much of a choice because that was happening literally, I mean, on the street of where his building is. And he was calling me with his baseball cap. He didn't know all of it was there. It was when the defense minister was fired and 600,000 people poured out onto the streets. So I was proud of him because, again, many of us at 18 would do that. And then I lovingly but firmly said to him, Jake, it's only going to be about 15 minutes before the water cannons get there, and it doesn't feel like a swimming pool. And I would like you to go upstairs to your building if you would listen to me. And I did turn Life 360 back on, even though I promised you I would turn it off, and saw that he was back upstairs. So this is now a memory that will be indelibly marked on my mind and probably yours. It's also indelibly marked for those of us who were there in October and November, that we were there when the election happened. And we were there to see people's tears and worry about the democracy. I was there, as you know, on sabbatical for a month, and the first Shabbat I arrived that night, Saturday night, was the first demonstration. I wanted to see what it was about. It was 30,000 people. As I told you, this was now 600,000 people. It's only a country of 8 million people. You could do the math of the people pouring onto the streets. And then memories, which I don't have time to recount with you, of everything from when I was 17 and a half until I'm 57. I've been going to Israel a lot of time, and many, many, many memories shooting through the arteries of my heart and my soul and my brain. So it brings up a lot of questions for us. And these are real questions, not all to be answered here, but I want you to take them seriously. Will Israel still be a democracy at 75 years old? It's not necessarily sure that we know one way or the other. We don't know. There are forces that are trying to figure out not trying to figure out, trying to assert what that government should be like. And the forces you should know loud and clear, you could agree or not agree, are not left versus right. It's not conservative versus Labor, the Labor Party. What it is it's left of center, center, right of center against a very, very far right group that has come into power that I would assess as pretty dangerous. Why do I ask? Because when we get up here and we talk about Israel, all of our love and steadfast loyalty, we can always say that it is the only democracy in that neighborhood, and that is not an understatement. It's the only democracy there. And I would also say, and some of you will not agree, that there is a problem with the judiciary there. It is become too strong on many different levels, and it needs to be reformed. But in democracies, we reform parts of our government by having cross-dialogue and having consensus, not just through an election that was won by only 30,000 votes. Who were the people that you saw on the street there? If you notice, not one person has a flag that represents a party. Not one person has a flag that represents a movement. There's only one flag those people are carrying, and that's the Israeli flag. Because these people are getting up and saying, we don't all agree with each other, but in democracies, we disagree in a way that's not forced down our throats. I know what you saw looked violent, and that fire was the most strident I've seen those demonstrations, but thus far, there's been flags, there's been singing, there's been love, and there's not been violence at all. Because this is not what this crowd is looking for. They're looking for dialogue. The bad news is I cannot tell you what's going to be. I don't know. And I told you in my letter the other day that I'm sometimes naively optimistic. I'm losing slowly that naivete. The good news is that in 3 months, from the time I got there until this video right here, democracy, demonstration, peaceful demonstration worked because the government said, okay, for at least a month, we're going to take a pause. What happens in this month? Again, I cannot tell you. I'm not a prophet. But democracy stopped what they were doing because even the military said, I'm not going to report for duty if I'm not defending a democracy. Which, by the way, scares me to no end because if Iran decides to launch a military strike right now, I don't know what the response would be. I guess we'd all gather around and take care of the state, but I can't promise you that they would. There's good news and there's bad news. There's hope and there's dismay. Questions I beg you to ask, because we have no choice but to ask questions. Memories, I promise you, will be indelible. And this last video is the one that I want us to walk away with indelibly marked tonight, because I don't want to forget to go back to the rice and beans, the Sephardic Jews and the Ashkenazic Jews. There's a reason this Ashkenazic Jew doesn't abide, because I like to eat so much. But the reason that most Ashkenazic Jews still do is because memory is indelibly marked in their spirits. And what my parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents have done actually count for something. I'm so sorry. But for most of us, we follow it not because it's Jewish law, because it's the law of each of our families. And we go back a long way and we respect them so much. So perhaps this should be the memory that I want you to end with, because this is the last piece of demonstration Jake saw before Netanyahu announced that he was going to pause. Listen to this. Singing our national anthem, not one of pride, but called Hatikva, the one that's called the hope. Let's finish that with them, so we can join our brothers and sisters of hope for the beacon of our democracy. I'd like to ask you to rise. Questions and memory, the secret of our longevity. A sweet, sweet, sweet Passover season to all of us here and to all of us there. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
While you're standing, I ask you to remain standing for Aleinu as the ark is opened.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gerula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu ki goyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים
Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. Those, of course, include people in our world whose names we do not know until they are shown on TV, with photos that break our hearts. Those who just went to school one day and didn't come home. Before we share names from our own Bnai Jeshurun community, we take this moment to remember the 6 souls who died, who were murdered at the Covenant School in Nashville earlier this week on March 27th. We remember Evelyn Dykehouse, Mike Hill, William Kinney, Catherine Kuntz, Cynthia Peak, and Hallie Scruggs. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may their memories ever be for a blessing. We take a moment in silence. We now come to those in our own community who we have lost. As part of honoring their memory, if you hear the name of someone you are remembering and you are so inclined, we invite you to rise in honor of their memory. We are saddened to announce the passing of Marcy Goldsmith, daughter of Vicky, wife of Matthew, sister of Howard, Nancy, and David and Dora and Virginia, whose funeral will be this coming Sunday. And we are saddened to announce the passing of Geraldine Silverman, wife of the late Jack Silverman, whose funeral will also be this coming Sunday. In this first week of Shiva, we remember Mark Solov, husband of Sue, father of Elise and Ned and Amy and Ken, grandfather of Ted and Alex and Samantha and Daniel, brother of Judith. In the 30-day period of Shloshim, we remember Rose Vinokur, Melvin Shapiro, Sandra Gessner, Susan Cooper Goldberg, Harvey Shore, and Paul Barton Botchneck. And on their anniversary of passing this Shabbat, their yahrzeit, we remember Gertrude Davis Asanoff, Audrey Basson, Nina Sarah Benjamin, Yetta Shore Berman, Dr. Elliot Mark Bernstein, Dr. Harry Block, Abraham Bronstein, Rose Gottlieb Broad, Samuel Cohen, Rita B. Cohen, Louis Drenzner, Jerome Feldman, Sanford Fidel, Bertha Mendelfinger, Julius B. Finger, Dr. Nathan J. Fishbein, Albert M. Fisher, Howard Henry Frost, Saul Glucksman, Lillian Tidor Hack, Rosella Grotta Hanauer, Minnie S. Heineman, Dr. Daniel Mark Hittner, Edith Katz Hoffman, Frida Gluck Horn, Fanny Isserman, Pauline Jelinek, Dr. Milton L. Kamler, George Katz, Bertha P. Kessler, Sylvia R. Koski, Monroe Critchman, Samuel Coleman, Ralph London, Minnie Judas Lubowit, Janine Macon, Albert Macon, Frida Kramer Marks, Lillian Miller, Edith J. Mindell, Joseph Mullman, Ralph S. Oppenheimer, Doris I. Park, Sylvia Schutzman Ravitz, Norton Reese, Dr. Maurice A. Scher, Morton Schiff Jr., Emma Strauss Schlosser, Moses Sickle, Leonard J. Skolnick, Aaron Irving Spiegel, Harold Sporn, Dr. Emil Stein, Esther Steinberg, Cynthia Jean Stolman, Arnold Straussberg, Julius Terry, Nathan Tureski, Jenny Wallach, and Lois B. Whitty. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May each of their memories ever be for a blessing in our own lives. We rise to comfort those who are mourning, to share in words of memory together. Page 294 on the screens. We continue with the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach leolam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'aminram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to people everywhere. As together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Just a couple of announcements as we bring our service to a close. Please make sure you take your orders of worship with you. There is a lot going on. We have this week of Passover, but we are really, really busy into the spring. I want to make sure you don't miss anything. A couple of really important things. One is that there is a new spot on our website with updated information about things going on in Israel. So it's right here in your order of worship, and you can go on the website and look at podcasts and articles and all kinds of things. And of course, we want to be here to help you think through it and be challenged by it. There is still time to register for our community second night Seder. It is always a wonderful time, but we do need to know that you're coming so we have enough chicken and charoset and all of that. So please make sure you sign up. I think Monday is our deadline, but we really would love to have you. As I said before, there are a lot of things happening in the community. I'll point out our Passover Yisker service, which is Wednesday, April 12th at 10:30 in the morning, which will be right here. With all of that, we have a wonderful bat mitzvah girl coming of age tomorrow, so I want to invite up Rachel Christie for Kiddush and Motzi. And Rachel, as part of this, we want to give you, thank you very much, this beautiful Kiddush cup, a gift from our Women's Association and Brotherhood. We hope the sweetness that is in it in this moment will be felt today and for many days to come in your family's life. And here we have another Kiddush cup here. There's a gift.
I got it from my aunt.
Well, a beautiful family gift. Well, maybe we'll do a little bit in both, and we'll put one here, and you can hold this one. And the other thing that you're going to get is a certificate for a little bit of help towards going on an Israel trip, because we hope that you will get to visit our homeland and get to experience it for yourself and bring back some of those memories that Rabbi Matt spoke about. So I'm going to put this here.
Okay.
You're going to hold this, and ready? 1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'achava v'ratzon hinhilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh, zecher litziyat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'arta ve'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodecha ve'achava u'veratzon hinoltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Great start. Thank you.
We conclude our service tonight with a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, as we continue to wish for peace for Israel, for all the world. We sing together. Oseh Shalom Bifroma.
Please rise.
Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom,
Shalom Aleinu
ve'al kol Yisrael.
As we conclude praying for peace, we take a moment to come out into our art gallery to have a little bit of oneg, a nash, a chance to see each other face to face, to get to meet our artist of the month who is here with us. We're very happy to have you. Thank you very much, and we wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.